So you guys were I'm hearing a lot of you guys wanted a theme song shortened, so here we go. This girl reviews movies, games, and books. Sometimes she plays them. So does that, and when she does it with the cat, does that make her crazy? Does that make her crazy? Probably. So, it's shorter. There you go. Crazycatlady or Martha Butler does not own any trailers or pictures. I use them under fair use, educational, for and entertainment purpose.
Hi everyone, Martha here. So, I got 3 news to talk about. Well, one's just mostly me just joking around and like laughing about how everybody has to do with it, is some freaking out about it because these are probably adults. They're freaking out about it, or teenagers who should already know this stuff. So yeah, kids don't usually freak about the stuff, or they find out about the stuff anyway eventually, so I don't get what the big deal is. So let's get started with the 2 news that are bad. And yeah. So sadly I had to bring up the dumb strike again, and it spread somewhere. Somewhere I was hoping it would not spread to. And that is video games. Which does make sense because AI can get involved with video games. They can do the voices, they can make the art look up with the art and stuff like that. They can write the stories, so I can understand why all this, why the writers and actors for that is. But they also, SAG is mad that we go to video games in order to escape the movies strikes, but so they want us to not do that. So, and they also still want us YouTubers to stop talking about movies, but they don't. In order for all of us to be on strike, even people who are not part of the SAG, like myself, because I'm not known by them. I am a small channel, and I think it's stupid that they are telling us we're not involved in the strike what to do. They do not pay me anything. Those risk people. Okay, none of them do. And they're the ones that are... I just really think that some studios should just help the people. And I guess I can totally understand why. Because, like I said, with games, all 3 of those things, and with, like characters you meet along the way don't really matter who voices them or what voices them. Like, ones you help with side missions, those really don't matter, but the main characters, and there's already one character that nobody knows who's going to replace him, and that's Mario. Since, the guy who the one who played him did retire recently, so yeah, remember that. We just still don't know who is replacing him, if it's going to be a person, or is it going to be a computer. I still want it to be a person. I know technically he's not the first person to play him. He's like the 3rd person to play him, because he didn't play him back in the during the TV show era. The 2 all the TV shows. That was a wrestler and somebody else. Because he used to have New York accent before he got the Italian accent. So yeah. And I'm talking about the voice actors, not the ones who play, not the 2 people who played him in live action. I'm not talking about Bob Paxton and Chris Pratt. And some people think that Chris Pratt's going to replace him. And like I said, probably said this before. News flash. He doesn't play Star. Does not play Star Lord or Peter for in regard to Galaxy video games, because there's been two video games that well, technically you count the Lego ones. None of them are him. This is somebody who knows how to sound a lot like him. So people think that he's gonna do the same thing for Mario. Think again. So yeah, whoever's gonna, if anybody's gonna replace him, be a smaller actor, because video games take a lot of contracts, and an A-lister actor would not matter, because really the guy who plays Mario is really not one of the main lister actors, because that's the reason why they didn't use him in the movie as Mario. Because they wanted people who recognize him, and only ones that recognize him are people who actually play the video games. The rest, the normies, don't even know who played him. So yeah, but like the ones that are not being fully made are involved. Like I know Wolverine is not is part of the Wolverine's makers are part of the strike. The game, not any of the movies, the game. And that one we don't got a date for yet. And I think the ones that are fine, that already have most of their development done, I think the next Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth is fine, because that one mostly has its development done. I don't. Besides, it hasn't really got it. It's got a year. It does not have a date yet. So yeah. And let me think. Anything? I don't know. I can think of, mostly it's just the main companies are involved with it, like just the movies. If you're an NG developer, you're not really involved, because you're not own up to SAG. NG developers don't have to worry about that. So yeah. So what's next? I am joking here. Do not bring in this on here. This is a joke. I'm not being serious. What's next? Who's gonna join the strikes? Books. To me, only thing I would think they should strike about is when people edit the books and and try to change what they did in the past, because we have to make everything in the world nowadays compared to what happened in the past. Erased it. You don't if people, a certain amount of people didn't like it. Those are the ones that strike. But most of those people who did are long gone, except for like Goosebumps. But the ones I can think of who would strike is like their children or their relatives. So, but yeah. Anyway, now that's out of the way. I'll show you guys like the website I found out about it. So yeah, but I'm gonna go and read it. I know this one's already gonna be 10 minutes long. Just talking about this one, so I am about it. So the companies that are going to get involved with the strike, their video games, are Activision. That means Spyro 4 might be getting looked at. Blind Light, Disney Character Voicers Inc., Electrical Art Producers, Epic Games, Formal Introduction, Sony, Enter Sony and Games, and Taken to Progress, and Voice Work Production, and Warner Brothers Games. Let me see if any of them other ones are gonna in this article. So yeah. Alright, let's go back. And the next one is because of the strikes, Marvel is delaying a bunch of the TV shows. So pretty much everything that's coming out this year is fine. Like, Loki's fine. And these are the TV shows, so don't think about the marbles. So Echo's game was supposed to come out like sometime this year, and that one comes out now. Was supposed to come out in November, but now it's moved to January of next year. Really, this one should be already been out, because by the time this one comes out, they might forget who she is. So, yeah. And another one that I'm really looking forward to, it's not really part of the universe, because it's part of my childhood, and that's X-Men 97. Update is supposed to come out this year in the fall, but I guess it's moving early time in 2024, probably because the animation's not done yet, and animation takes forever to do. We got Agrica, which has changed her name from Covenant of Chaos to Dark Souls Diaries, which is weird. And that one was supposed to come out. This one's let's see, where's the date? This one is getting it moved to the 24th of next year, fall. Some people think it's going to come out around Halloween. So yeah, and we got there's Loki right there, which comes out next month. That one, since that one's already finished and it's don't have to worry about that. The ones that are in limbo who don't got a release date anymore. We already knew that Daredevil was delayed because it was being filmed right when this happened. But so that one's delayed. And Wonder Boy, he's probably just being written during this time period. I don't know how much this is true, but I guess Ironheart was taken off the schedule. Some people think it's already done, but something that might have been delayed that's related to it probably got delayed that for the movies. So yeah. So I don't know. Some of these, since what was going on in the Marbles anyway, it's okay if we have a little break from them, maybe. Since a lot of people have, sometimes I am burnt out by them, but not all the time. Sometimes they still have good movies and good TV shows. Every single fandom has a time where you when they hit bugs or flops. They have bad ones. So yeah. So we're able to have a little bit of fun, guys, and stop thinking about all these strikes and stuff like that. And that is, and what people are getting mad about TikTok. They are mad about that. One of the workers at Disney, we don't know who because they're anonymous about it, filmed what goes on behind the scenes when they're inside their rooms. Now, for people who don't know, when Disneyland's last Disney World, even the ones in France and China, all have a place where they go to, like, go to a different area or to go have a break, and if they smoke, take breaks. Now, I guess some people don't know that these are people under these costumes. Unless you're a little kid, you should already know this. Okay? Because they say, it's ruining the magic! Because it showed how, like, one of them gets their costume on. Nick from Zootopia, and then it shows a bunch of them with their heads, that have heads on top of them. And it says it's ruined the magic. I already knew this, because if you are like me and look things up for a living and for fun, you already knew that this room existed, that they go in this room to get change, because not everybody, because somebody changes different characters, or they go to the restroom and they go to the smoke. They have to breathe when they wear this stuff, because they have to go and take a breath, because having those dumb things on your head can, for too long, can kill you. You have to go and take a breath. Okay? So yeah. Don't you remember 3 years ago what happened with us during the pandemic? Well, imagine having to do that every single day for a job and going. So yeah. I just found it funny that some people will say, they're ruining the magic! No! Who are probably adults. No, and teenagers, okay? If you're like under the age of 10, then you can complain. But you're over the age of 10. This is like us finding out, for example, sorry if there's any kids watching this. There's no such thing as Santa Claus, but you're an adult. So yeah. So yeah, that's the closest thing I can compare this to. So yeah. I just find it funny that people are complaining about that. People on TikTok are complaining about this, and we don't know who it is. Now, Disney would not want them to see this room because it's called trespassing, but this person used to work there, so they're not really in trouble. If they still work there, then they would get in trouble for showing these rooms. So yeah. But they have shown these rooms before because there's pictures everywhere. But I think those people were trespassing because they didn't work there. So yeah. And the reason why these rooms exist, because Walt made it to where nobody can be in the wrong area. Like, during Walt's time, since Star Wars didn't exist back then, Marvel, I can't use them as an example. He didn't want, like, cowboys being in Tomorrowland, because they don't belong in that area. So he built these walls and underfloor, so the cowboy can go to work and stay in the area for the cowboys. And when the cowboys and the cowgirls want to take a break, they can leave and go and take a break. But they don't take a break in the wrong area. So yeah. And the same exact thing for back then, since during his time period, Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion were being built, and they were not built completely until after he died. Those lands existed, the Adventureland and and where I forgot what's in the land that Haunted Mansion's at. So yeah, Louisiana or in the Bayou. So yeah. So yeah. Land. So that's basically it for that part. Now let's get on to Superman. Last episode for this season, episode 10. And I'm sorry that I was calling it A Adventure with Superman, but I get this mine. And how this episode season ends. So spoilers ahead for this season, and that is So it's Thanksgiving time over at in this show. Looks like Jimmy, Lois, and Clark got a promotion on the story of Superman. They're now reporters, no longer interns. Jimmy sold his blog to the Daily Planet as a joke at the very end. So he's like rich. And so we have like a little family drama because Sam the general goes to the Kent's farm for Thanksgiving, and this proves that he is Lois's dad, like a lot of us thought he was. This only confirms it because how scary how like scared Lois is acting, and this is accurate because Sam and Clark don't, as far as I know, don't ever really get along in the comics. They just really tolerate each other for Lois's sake. So this is accurate. What's happening here? Usually, as far as I know, it's not usually him that works for the X, Transport X. That's usually that flag guy. But I guess they just gave him his job in Transport X. So yeah, and so they when like Clark is like he's trying to cover forward so he doesn't get in a fight with Lois, so he tells Martha. And I think Jonathan's like doing the right thing here, warned about the turkey. And like he goes, "The turkey's not cooking." He says it's still not tempting when Jimmy comes over. They see like pulls him over and says, whenever is like talking about who the general he is. Jonathan grabs him, the turkey's still not cooking right. So yeah, at least there's somebody who cares about what really matters. The turkey! It makes me love Jonathan, actually. And I like that he's actually alive in this timeline, because he's always the one who's dead. And so, yeah. And so they end up finding out, and Jimmy tries to make Lois and Clark not have secrets, so to tell the truth about who Sam really is. And this is when the ball comes out that shows that Clark was evil in other universes, and how he reacts to it. But the ball has kryptonite in it, and it affects Clark, but not only Clark, affects his ship. And Jor-El, he like tells Jor-El, "I'm not gonna be your weapon," but I think he misunderstands because since Jor-El still doesn't speak English, except for a couple lines that are simple to learn, like "My son, I will save you." So basically, and he ends up helping Clark when the robot's happening. We know who these robots are. They're from Brainiac, which in some timelines is Brainiac who destroys the planet. Usually it's one or two things. It's either Brainiac or it's Zod who destroys the planet. And I guess in this version they're going with Zod. They're going with Brainiac, but there's another robot that I don't know. Another computer that I guess Brainiac's like the second in command. Anybody want to tell me who this other character is? I'll probably learn about it later on. But I would literally love to see him in live action, like in a movie, not in a TV show. So yeah, because they never really done him in movies, as far as I know. They always do Zod and Lex. So I would want them for once to do a Brainiac in a movie. Can they please do that? But anyway, So this one was fine. Clark and it kind of reminds me of Superman Returns a little bit, because Clark brings up the kryptonite into the sky to beat the robots with because Jimmy figures out that the rocks hurt the robots since the technology is from Krypton. So yeah, it would hurt them too. And so Clark has to bring up the kryptonite to the ship, so he actually has to lift up kryptonite and touch kryptonite so it would hurt whatever he's finding. So there's two things that this reminds me of that has done in movies where where Clark had to use something that actually hurts him as a weapon. And in order to save the people he loves, the Kents, Jimmy, Lois, and even Sam. So if you watch Superman Returns, he lifts up a whole entire planet of kryptonite, and in Superman versus Batman, he has to use a spear that hurts him in order to kill the God guy. The one that's actually it's been so long since I watched that movie, but yeah. So, and I'm not really a fan of neither one of them. So it's been so long since I watched these movies, so I don't really remember all the details. Just remember like the big points, like the important details in it. But the rest of it, I don't really remember. And it was something that I really hated, like the monster in that movie, Batman vs Superman. I didn't like the design because it looked like someone from Lord of the Rings, which does not belong in that show, that series. That's why it looks weird. And how long ago that was for that. So yeah. So I did like this one because I like how it ended. I did like the fact that even though it's there is technically blood in here because Clark almost turns into what the robots turn into, so it's technically his form of bleeding, so there is technically blood. So it's finally showing stuff that probably should not be in a kid's show, so it's finally going for the part that belongs on Adult Swim, but it's just a minor detail. It's not that, to me, only like the end of the show, these last episodes of the parts are not really meant for kids. The rest of it's fine. It's like there's not cussing, there's not there's no mention of sex, just blood. So yeah. I think an 8-year-old could watch this show. But not a 5-year-old. So yeah. But that's basically it. I think I'm gonna give this one like a 10 out of 10. So I'll see you guys later. Like, share, and subscribe, and bye bye.